ఈ వీడియో కనుక మీకు నచ్చినట్లయితే లైక్ చేయండి, షేర్ చేయండి. ఇలాంటి మరిన్ని అప్డేట్స్ కోసం మా ఛానల్ను సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి.
First, two names that have come up in the last 1.5 hours when we were sitting there and when we entered this hall. Professor Ambedkar and Professor Bashiruddin. I had the privilege and fortune of associating with them in some way or the other. And I was just coming out of the university. Professor Ambedkar was a great name in those days, in the 70s and early 80s. He is, in true sense, the pioneer of distant education in this country. The way he proliferated it throughout, and then many who would not have acquired degrees in graduation, post-graduation, etc., he made it possible for them. We should definitely acknowledge whatever contribution is made there. And Professor Bashiruddin, I used to meet him when he was in Usmania University. His son was a junior colleague of ours. 4 or 5 years later, after we joined the service, he joined the Indian Foreign Service. Now he's posted as our permanent representative in the United Nations at New York. I think I'll definitely mention it to him because once in a while we keep talking to each other. Just about 4 or 5 months back, he was here in Hyderabad. He had come to attend my son's wedding reception. That time we had met. In New York, about 3 months back, I met him there. I would mention that his father was very fondly remembered yesterday, and he himself was a true Sufi. Very eclectical when it came to religious practices. So it's very apt that you had a memorial lecture for him yesterday. I will mention it to him. This away now. 2 forewarnings I'd like to make. One is all of us sitting in the dais, I'm the only non-specialist here. I don't know whether it's an advantage or a disadvantage. I'm a chemical engineer by training, academics and everything. There is one thing. So don't expect any scholarly exposition from me in history. There is no. But that has its own advantage. In fact, I would definitely suggest for seminars of this type, you keep inviting at least one non-specialist. They'll definitely give a different flavor. If rice has to turn into biryani, you require some additional and minor condiments into that. So that is what it will become. Because, as they were telling, each one of us have a different way of observing society. We are not conditioned in any way to observe it. Whatever we observe, particularly I am a very hardcore policeman who always believed in moving among the people. Perhaps we observe the cultures and the people, the practices, how the past has shaped the present and those aspects. I have an advantage there. The second one, he was here, that was his job as the presiding officer of this final session, valedictory session, to stick to the time, so he was telling the time limits. I have a page with me, a paper. I am going to present this paper to you today. I have not timed it. I don't know how long it will take. But mercifully, he did not mention any time limit. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. On paper, I have seen 15 minutes. I might exceed that. This is another forewarning. See, though I am a student of chemistry, in the year 1978, when I took the civil services examination, those days we had to take lot of optional subjects, 5 totally, 3 lowers and 2 highers. I had taken a very peculiar combination for lowers. Imagine chemistry, zoology, and Indian history. That was one combination. And then I had to take 2 higher papers. Those days, the person who was shaping the destiny of all youngsters who would want to join civil service was when Dr. Rao was there. He started coming to Hyderabad. So we put our destiny into his hands and said, choose papers for us for hires. He looked at the background and then talked to me for a while and said, no question. You take Great Mughals as one paper. Second one is the Middle East history. I said, what is Middle East history? How can I take? I believe we have to answer one question in Arabic. So I am proficient in Urdu, but not in Arabic. What do I do? He said, take it. You don't worry about it. 10 marks is all that question carries. Remaining 90. Out of 90, you can score 70. So sacrifice the 10 and then go. Even there, I would have got 4 or 5 marks there. Ultimately, I ended up getting 75, 76 in that paper, which was far higher than I got in my chemistry paper, after being a gold medalist in the university in chemistry. Why I am mentioning about this Middle East paper was, part of it was study of Persian history also, particularly the Safavid dynasty in the Middle East times. So I am not totally ignorant about history. I know something about history, having studied Great Mughals and then the Persian part of Middle East history, and then taking Indian history as one of my options for the lowers. Here what happened, see, well, all of us study history till class 10 at least. We did it. That was only about dates, names, wars. It always follows a particular pattern. The causes for a war, events, consequences. That is the way we were made to study. But one good thing of having taken history and studied for civil services was, we started really thinking about history. Started reflecting on whatever you were studying there. And when I mentioned this to Dr. Rao, I'm poor at remembering dates, names, etc. He said, you don't have to remember more than 20, 25 dates. And you don't have to remember any great personalities in history. Focus more on art, culture, architecture, people's history. That would be better. He was telling us, go to Ranullah Thapar, go to Irfan Habib, go to S. Mukherjee. These are better sources of history for civil services. And those NCERT books. Beyond that, you don't have to do. It was a good suggestion. We really got interested, and then we got through civils taking that particular paper. During that was the period when we started traveling also. And architecture was one thing that really interested us. And here the profound impact the Persian architecture had on the medieval structures in India. That is one thing that most of us have gone around and seen, and whether it be North India, Deccan, Maharashtra, in these areas also. And those, the features like raised platforms, minarets, and then huge archways that we have. Then the pictadura work, the inlay works, the glazed peacock blue tiles. All these were the Persian introductions into Indian architecture, and that's undeniable that they are there in Hyderabad. In fact, those of you who have not seen Qutub Shahi tombs of late, I would very strongly recommend. Now you must go and see it. After the Aga Khan Foundation has taken up the work of restoration very recently. In fact, my daughter-in-law, she joined Indian Foreign Service very recently. This girl is posted in Paris. She is very interested in architecture. She pested. She's a Kerala girl actually. When she was here, she told me that, Baba, I want to go around and see all this. I became her guide and took her around. That's how I visited this one and then many other structures. She was explaining a lot of architectural features to me from her perspective. She studied history at St. Stephen's, Delhi, so she had a fairly good insight into these aspects. Now we must see that it has been done. Why I'm mentioning this is, I saw 3-4 of you certainly mention about how much of treasure of manuscript that we have in Persian, in Farsi, and then in other languages. I have gone to state archives and seen more than 5 lakh manuscripts are lying there in decayed condition, decaying, literally decaying. If we don't preserve immediately, we're going to lose them forever. A lot of administrative, we were talking of people's history. The petitions given by the people and their problems to the rulers, to the local administrators, and then what responses they have given, how they have stated rules, regulations. Today we made a lot of files in our offices. Those sort of materials are also lying there. Very authentic sources of information. If somebody wants to research on history, is lying there. Last week, around the same time, I was mentioning before coming for this conference, I was in Iranian consulate attending the program, the 40th year of Islamic revolution in Iran. The Consul General had invited, I had gone there. That time, I made one request to him, that very soon I want to take a delegation and want to go to Iran. The reason is, we have taken 10 acres of beautiful land overlooking Gandipet Lake, where we are going to start what is called Telangana Islamic Cultural Center, Cultural and Convention Center. 10 acres of land there. This is not merely going to be only, it's not religious at all. It's a totally secular, academic-oriented institution that we want to create there. In fact, I have an idea that we want to collect all this information that is there. The information that is there in Makkah Masjid, the Oriental Abul Kalam library there, or in public gardens also we have one mosque adjacent to that, there is a center. There a lot of information is lying. In state archives we have information. Daratul Marif in Usmania City has a lot of information. All this we want to collect, digitize, preserve, and then keep it at one place and have a beautiful facility for the researchers anywhere who want to come, stay on the premises. We'll have the lodging facility also there. They can stay there, do research, and then come out with whatever works they want, whatever papers they want to come up with. So that we're definitely going to do. I have seen here, I'm no scholar of Persian. My father studied, he was in the IAS, but for his paper he had taken Persian as one of the subjects. And then he was a graduate in Farsi. So he used to tell me how much of information is lying there. When he was the Principal Secretary Education of the State Archive was one of his subjects. He had separated them and kept them as at one place. He used to tell me now, a couple of years back, then now that you're in this position, why don't you take it up and do something about it? So we would definitely be doing this, collecting all this, keeping it at one place and facilitating the researchers to come and do that. Farsi, not merely in Deccan, in North India also, it had a very, very prominent position. All of us know, forget about the Mughal rule. Mughal rule, it was the official language. Subsequently also, even when British came and ruled us for 200 years, for a very, very long period, they could not touch Farsi. They could not remove it from the status of official language. It continued. A few things. That was one, and then the Mughal emperors, the numismatic aap karte hain. The Mughal emperors imprint on the rupee coin. That is something that they did not change for a very long time because they were firmly etched in the memory, in the psyche of the Indian people. That's why they did not, and they did not move it at all. There are other very interesting sources. Professor Lavanya has come from US. In fact, in Washington I have seen with one particular gentleman, what an amount of information, nearly 500 letters were there with one American citizen. The correspondence that has gone on between Princess Nilofer, Nizam, and the Prime Minister of India, they are all there. Different sources. Perhaps when we start a center of this nature here in Hyderabad, we should also be looking at collecting all this and putting it at one place. I think on behalf of the government, in whatever capacity I am there presently now, it should be possible to do, we will go ahead and do this. Regarding the other, now it becomes too pedestrian, whatever I'm going to talk, let me tell you about it. Like I said, I don't, not that I don't intend to be scholarly, I cannot be scholarly because I'm not a serious student of history apart from whatever I did for my civil services preparation. See, so much deeply embedded the Persian culture and Persian aspects into our Hyderabadi society, Telangana Deccan society is, when we were students preparing for civils, every road in Hyderabad was dotted with any number of Irani cafes. Irani cafes. Even they might have reduced in number, still here and there they exist, particularly on that side of Musi, on the southern side of Musi. They are there. The combination that goes, those days it was samosa with Irani coffee, Irani chai, but today it is Usmani biscuit with that one. Again, the intermixing of the two. Usmani is a name that has come from the 7th Nizam of Hyderabad, isn't it? It was made Usman Ali Khan. So that is one. And the Halim has become so popular that now you go and see the international airport in Hyderabad. Earlier it used to go only for the Middle East. Now every flight going out, going to the US, West, down under there is Australia or anywhere, some consignments keep going. And these hotels like Paradise or Pista House, all of them have specialized. They've become great marketers now. The way they pack, they put up and then send them in cargo flights, that you should see. So this is again Iranian flavor in Hyderabadi cuisine. Or pilaf, all those sort of things are there in cuisine. Religion is one area where perhaps Islam, the type of strain of Islam that came to Deccan and started dominating major part of medieval period, not merely in Telangana. In Anantapur, for example, in Penukonda, there is a place, I was just reading in the book that the professor had given me. Penukonda, there was a prince from Iran who became a Sufi saint. He kept on traveling. He came into those days Vijayanagara kingdom. His master had told him, he had given him a dry stick. He said, keep traveling in Indian land, where you keep on putting it in the soil. Wherever it turns green, that is a place you are going to take residence, permanent residence, take up permanent residence. He kept on going and going. He came to a place called Penukonda. There he put it, it turned green. He lived there and then he died there. There is a beautiful dargah that has been built there. 95% of the devotees who go there are Hindus. That has been the culture in these parts also. This eclectical and then very, very Sufi, all-encompassing brand of Islam that came, that also had a very profound Persian impact. As Commissioner Police Hyderabad, I have seen the Muharram season 2-3 times. 17 years I have worked in Hyderabad as Deputy Commissioner of Police, Joint Commissioner, Additional Commissioner, Commissioner of Police. I have worked here. At least on 4 occasions, the envoy of Iran, the ambassador of Iran, he would come here on 10th Muharram to witness the Matam and the procession that is taken out from a place called Darul Shifa, Bibi Kalawa. It goes through a place called Azakhana Zahra, and then ultimately reaches out to the Musi River. They come and see that. In fact, one time I was telling, why come here? I believe Lucknow has more number of more Shia population. Why don't you go there? Why do you come here? No. Matam that is performed in Hyderabad, the intensity of it. In fact, violent intensity, let me tell you, because self-inflicted violence again. The way many of my rich friends, big builders, millionaires who live in Banjara Hill, Jubilee Hills, they also come and participate in the Matam there with cut blades in their fingers and then keep on the chest thumping. They keep bleeding. The blood keeps oozing and then going out. They keep putting rose water on that. There will be people who will be putting rose water and then they keep moving. This sort of thing, a profound Shiite practice that exists here. Now probably we have gone beyond what happens in Persia. I don't think it's happening to that level even in that place now. So these are some of the things that came and they have been continuing. Again here, it's all religion encompassing. The devotees who come to Bibi Ka Alawa, for instance, those who participate in the processions, there's nothing religious about it. In fact, at a distant place like Guntur, this also was mentioning when we were sitting in the room and waiting to come here. I was Deputy Inspector General of Police, Guntur, way back in 1993-94. We had a peculiar communal problem there. There's a place called Satanpalli. In Satanpalli, there is it's a Ashur Khana. In Telugu, in local parlance, they call it Pirla Chavadi. So the Hindus came and started telling, how is this place listed as a Waqf property? It is not a Muslim property. Everybody, only Hindus, 100% of us, we are going and doing it. Please don't keep it as a Muslim endowment property. It's, of course, it had access to everybody, but then so much it has transcended the boundaries of religion and then gone into the other religions also. These are some of the practices that started there with that strain of Shia strain of Islam and started becoming all-encompassing. Hyderabad, even now, whether the Bahman's period, subsequently those 5 kingdoms that came up, Berar, Bijapur, Gulbarga, Golconda and Ahmednagar, all the 5. So during that period, Hyderabad is reputed to have more than 400 Ashur Khanas around. Even now some of the very big Ashur Khanas exist. One of them, a beautiful one, Badshahi Ashur Khana, again that is also being restored now with the help of Aga Khan Foundation. That also will come to very good prominence. So these are some of the things that still exist. One very interesting thing that I noticed about the Shia connection to Hyderabad. Bahmans, yes. Subsequently, those 5 kingdoms, yes. We always keep thinking that Asarjai dynasty, it started patronizing and then state religion was Sunni Islam. Yes, it was. But Shiaism never went away. Most of the rulers and the princes were always marrying either in Turkey or in Persia. The women from there were coming here. And some of them had such profound impact on the court and the practices. Last we know Dureshwar and Nilofar, how they transformed the Hyderabadi society when it comes to women. That is known. But then one very interesting thing that came about, I saw when I was managing director of the State Road Transport Corporation. All RTC buses, you would have seen the number. Those days APZ, and Z is the number. Where does the Z come from? So many in the organization who had spent 30-35 years, I kept asking the executive directors, they are not able to tell. See, when the Hyderabad state was amalgamated into Indian Union, the Nizam signed a lot of documents with Government of India. One of them specifically was this. Nizam State Road and Railways, that was the organization that existed, managing both road and rail transport. He signed an agreement where Pandit Nehru, Sardar Patel, Vellodi, General J.N. Chaudhary, all of them were signatories. He said the buses, the public transport buses will carry the registration number Z. That was to perpetuate the memory of his mother, Zahra Begum. She was a Shiite really. Though the state religion, the patronized the sect of Islam was Sunni, but still the Z has remained there. Now you know the funny part, Hyderabad has remained here, state is bifurcated. Andhra has nothing to do with Hyderabad, but Z has gone there and will remain there perpetually. So, this is how in history, a few things start and go away. Like for example, when you travel towards the airport, you would see that big fish-like structure, National Fisheries Development Board. that was set up at that time because Andhra Pradesh had 1,000 kilometers of shoreline, sea. So that was something to fisheries, so it was set up here. Now Telangana is totally landlocked. The National Fisheries Board office is located in Hyderabad now. You don't produce even 0.5% of the total fishery connected thing, but that will remain there. So these sort of things have happened. But then the only thing is the type of relationship that we carry with Persia still, with Deccan. For instance, in South India, south of India, when they wanted to set up a consulate, Hyderabad was the place that was chosen. Though there are better cities, diplomats would have liked to go and have better life there. Hyderabad is a good city now. It wasn't 30, 40 years back. Perhaps Bangalore was a much better city, Chennai was. But then consulate was started here because of the strong cultural link it had. Today, if government of India is able to have very comfortable relationship with Iran in a few aspects, like say for example rupee trade, when you want to trade in crude oil. This was the first country which allows to trade in rupee. That was because of the strong cultural link that had developed between the two. Chabahar seaport, when the contract was given to India, China was pressing for it. China succeeded in getting 11 of them, all right from Burma to Seychelles to Sri Lanka, and then right up to that. Part of its string of pearls policy, it wanted to encircle India. So 11 ports it got. But Iran was one country which plumped for India, not for China. But the reason that we had a strong cultural link with it. Even today, strategically, when we talk of Afghanistan and Pak policy, off-Pak policy, Iran is the country which is supporting us. Just last year, President Rouhani was here in Hyderabad. Apart from Delhi, his total visit in India was hardly about 1.5 days. Apart from Delhi, he visited only Hyderabad. Only Hyderabad, and that too made such a great gesture. He came to Makkah at a Friday prayer, and then I was there. I had the fortune of the privilege of receiving him as a representative of the Chief Minister, because CM was in Delhi on that day. So, and what a profound speech that he made about the religious tolerance, Persia, Deccan, and Persia-Indian relationship, etc. was something fantastic. All these things would not have been possible but for the ancient and more particularly medieval historic links, people-to-people contacts, the cultures. It's not merely the poets, it's not merely the courtiers, it's not merely the calligraphers. People also moved in a big way. It is said in history that when Muhammad bin Tughlaq shifted the capital from Daulatabad from Delhi, a lot of Persians came along with him. When he went back, they did not go back. They stayed back in Deccan. That's how the contact also got enriched very, very strongly. The other day I went to one rug factory here. He was weaving rugs for Krishna Obrai and other hotels. He was telling that the workers are all from Iran. Iran produces finest of the rugs and carpets in the world. In fact, after petroleum, that is the second biggest source of national income also. When he was producing it, he said, "This is flawless. This has been made wonderfully well." In fact, we found one blemish at somewhere. We pointed this out to him. Look, there is a blemish here. The owner called the worker. Owner is a Parsi. Again, generations back they have migrated from there to that land to this land. So he was, the worker said, "Yes, deliberately I have introduced this fault because the Persian belief is only God can make a perfect creation. The human being cannot and should not make a perfect creation. That's why he introduced a small imperfection somewhere to say that we are human. We are not godly ordained." So this is one. I don't know how many of you know that old anecdote when the Parsis started, Zoroastrians started coming into India, and Islam started coming from the Middle East, from Arab lands into Persia. Parsis had moved out. The Zoroastrians moved out rather. They came into Sindh, they came into Gujarat, those areas. Now the local ruler there, there is a small anecdote, most would be knowing, for those who do not know, I'll end with that. So they came in small numbers. The ruler was very accommodative, he received them, but then said, look, I have a very small land, mine is a very small kingdom, principality. But then I can't have you here because it will get overpopulated. Then the head of that group who had come, he produced a glass of milk full to the brim, and then took a bit of sugar and then added into that. The milk did not overflow. He told, so this is your kingdom now, full to the brim. We are getting added to a little extent. We are not going to add it to any of your problems, but then we are going to sweeten that. In the sense, we are going to give a new, different taste, a better taste to that. That is what we are going to do. And to the credit of Parsis, we should remember this. They had told two things to that ruler, as recorded in history. One is they will not create any problems, and they will not be interested in the local politics. To this day, 2000 years later also, they have not done it. In Hyderabad, they are also under my charge here. 1,200 of them live here. Unless we find out where they are, whether they require something, go and try to help them. They don't even do that. And what an enormous amount of contribution they have made to Indian society. Industry, people like Tatas. Science and technology, Baba. Manik Shah, when it comes to this one, scientists, industrialists. You name any particular field, and the judiciary, the Nariman, Palkiwalas, and all of them come from that stuff. So, Russia has made enormous contribution to India. India also has made to them, because that's why when you go there, they revere Indians, they respect Indians when they go. They better than they treat Pakistanis, they treat Indians. They do. So that has been the strong link that we have. As I said, I know it is not scholarly from all.
ఈ వీడియో కనుక మీకు నచ్చినట్లయితే లైక్ చేయండి, షేర్ చేయండి. ఇలాంటి మరిన్ని అప్డేట్స్ కోసం మా ఛానల్ను సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి.